to the Matinee Review.
The Matinee Review.
Well, now that we got good and sidetracked.
What were we talking about?
What's going on here?
What are you talking about?
Am I doing a podcast? Where am I?
You're in the void.
Hi.
Get out of there.
Hi, everybody. We're back.
Filters out the blue light.
Get out of there. This is nice. Things are nice.
Nice. And welcome back, everyone, to the Matinee Review, where two friends talk everything entertainment, such as movies, animated features, television shows, video games, cartoons, and comic books. I am Justin.
I am Akili.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Hello. Welcome back. We are here.
It's been a while.
It's been a while since we went on and did some podcast things.
It's been a while since we did a Stained reference. How's it going, everyone? Sorry, we had a bit of a gap there, almost a year-long break, but it's been a year-long ordeal. Not really too much of an ordeal, but at least an adventure. And the adventure will still continue because we are finally in the same city, finally in the same room while recording. So, yeah. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Things are well. That year-long thing that we were going through was just life. Sometimes life gets in the way.
Sometimes life finds a way.
Indeed.
Yeah,
it does.
Yes.
Shout out to Dr. Ian Malcolm. Mm-hmm. He knows. I think we're going to see him again because they're doing Jurassic Park again.
Oh, my God.
Again, because that's the content we need. But I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
I'm good. All I can think of right now is that song that he did with the piano. In Jurassic Park, scary in the dark. It's really funny. I don't do it any justice, but I'm all right. Just living life and trying to get by and get this podcast thing going. So yeah, no, I'm good. I'm happy.
Good.
So.
Well, then let's get this podcast thing going.
That's right. Yeah, with that being our quick little catch-up and that being my phone, we are going to get into the news.
The news. Let's get into the news.
First up, it was just
the buzz? Tell us what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell us what's happening. What's the buzz?
It was the 4th of July. They released a picture of Captain America. Marvel Studios did. And
Kendrick dropped a music video.
Dude, Kendrick.
Shout out to K-Dot.
Yeah, that was
fantastic.
Not like us. Really good.
Fantastic.
Video. What a burn. Every shot. Every bar.
We still have to get you to listen to every song in its entirety. So you can understand the whole run. Because we should do a whole little side segment on it, but not today.
Not right now. We do talk about music.
Speaking of not like us, we're talking about the shot of Captain America.
That's right. Fantastic looking outfit. A lot better than that one that they had in the end of the show.
They definitely listened to the feedback.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I bet they also listened to Mackie. Like, dude, what am I wearing? Can we have something at least similar to what Evans wore? Because that's a great outfit. And it turns out that it's somewhat similar to what Evans wore in Endgame. So
correct.
Yeah. If it ain't broken, don't fix it.
It's a good first shot.
Yeah. Looks
and
good.
Surprisingly, not too much backlash.
Not that I know of.
Yeah. Not too much backlash.
We'll give it time. It's only been a few days. So somebody's going to complain about something.
Wonder if they'd released it on Juneteenth, if there'd have been a different kind of... But no, 4th of July works just as well. Yeah. Still a bar.
It's Captain America.
Good job.
Yeah.
Well done. I'm here for it. I look forward to that.
Yeah. And not only that for a first look, it may not be news to you, but it's somewhat news to some people. They released some pictures of Pedro Pascal and I forgot the other gentleman's name, and Denzel Washington. And, for Gladiator 2. What are your thoughts on a sequel to a movie that was a very, very long time ago?
Well, I mean, my thoughts on, I can't really too much bash sequels on movies that were made a long time ago, because we seem to be in that stretch of timeline right now where most the sequels feels like they're I mean, we're going to get into one Or, we're going to talk about one of a sequel that was something that was made a long time ago. When it comes to Gladiator, though, I feel like that movie, that story, that ending was just fine.
Right.
We don't need to open up Max. We don't need to go into Maximus' story, especially if we're just talking about like the kid.
So this is supposed to be the kid that was watching the whole thing happening in that
From
movie.
what I understand, yeah, he's the kid that's
the nephew of Joaquin Phoenix.
Can we keep it real? He's the reason why Maximus gets killed. If we're just being very real, because he's doing his little sparring thing, and I got you. And then Joaquin Phoenix comes in and he's like, "Oh, who are you pretending to be?" "I'm Maximus, the savior of Rome." "Oh, savior!" And then that sparks off the whole shit, and that jumps all the shit off, and that takes it all the way down. So really, Snitch Bitch gets his own movie. We don't need the sequel. That's how I feel about it. Apparently, snitches get sequels. That's what happens.
No, but tell me how you really feel about it.
We don't need it.
Okay.
At all.
There it is.
I'm not at all interested. Like, good for Pedro Pascal. Hey, you know what? If he loses, then how about Pedro Pascal just not make movies where he has to duel anybody, because his characters are not good at dueling.
Who, Pedro's?
Yeah.
What am I missing?
Oh, Game of Thrones?
Oh, yeah. He was great at dueling.
Yeah, how'd that duel
He
turn
was
out?
great at dueling.
How'd that duel turn out?
It's just that he stood too close to the guy.
Yeah, how'd that duel turn out?
He should have
It didn't
thrown a
turn out
spear
too
from
well.
it.
And so now he's got to fight Maximus's kid. How's this duel going to turn
some
out?
amazing dueling, if anything. It was just the end that sucked.
The only thing I'm partially excited is that Denzel Washington's in the movie, and he's going to be giving off stage Shakespearean-like performances, which Denzel Washington does very well. So I expect him to outact everybody he's on screen with, and I'll be excited to watch the scenes that he's in. But as a whole, I'm not really excited for Gladiator.
Was it
2.
Apple Plus or Apple thing?
Apple
that
TV? He did the
the Henry VIII, Henry V, Henry V.
Haven't seen it. Didn't see it because I haven't seen like an Apple
One of the
or anything,
Henrys.
'cause I don't. It's one of the streaming services I don't have. But he did some Shakespeare thing.
Henry Jones Jr.
He's from the stage. That's his bag. So
Right.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm so jealous. My father got to see him and Viola Davis on Broadway do Fences.
Ooh, yeah.
I was like, "How was Denzel on stage?" He's like, "It's Denzel."
It's Denzel.
Oh.
Yeah.
I hear you, Pops. All right. Yeah. Everybody shut up. Your cell phone better not go off when Denzel's talking. Everybody
Right.
shut up and pay attention. Yeah.
The one thing that I will always remember him in is Much Ado About Nothing. And if anybody has not seen Much Ado About Nothing, everybody's in that bloody movie, including Keanu Reeves doing Shakespeare, folks. So if you want to see Keanu Reeves and Michael Keaton doing Shakespeare,
Yeah.
then watch this movie.
You want to see John Wick, Batman, and The Equalizer?
And it's Kate Beckinsale's from the
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
What is her character's name in Underworld?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That's okay. It's not like the most
Leanne?
memorable movie. I went and saw it because of her.
Leanne? Lorraine?
Sure.
Dang. Oh, well. Anyway.
I don't know.
Anyway, Gladiator 2.
Gladiator
Really excited.
2.
But
Yeah.
the shots look like Gladiator 1 shots. So, cool.
Hey,
You know?
there it is. They made a sequel. Actually, not a sequel, but another Venom movie. Moving on.
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine is looking to make up to $160 to $165 million opening weekend.
For anybody who hasn't been to the movies in a long time, I think this is the movie like that everybody's going to see.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah. So
Yeah.
everyone's going to go see this flick.
Yeah. Both Deadpool movies did just fine and broke records, up there with Passion of the Christ. That was everything he said in the sequel. And Hugh Jackman's back. Not only is Hugh Jackman back, but Hugh Jackman's in the MCU. And Deadpool is in the MCU. So it's going to be good. It's going to make plenty of the money. Mm-hmm. I can't wait. Mm-hmm. It looks really, really good.
It does.
Yeah. Speaking of Marvel, Marvel is returning to Hall H at Comic-Con this year. They haven't been there since 2022, and they are back with the Fantastic Four, which is interesting.
Still have not been to the official Comic-Con in San Diego. Do definitely want to.
I went once. It was good.
Oh, yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, man.
It was 2007, just as I started working at Disney as Jack. It was cool. I got to see Stan Lee get escorted about like 5-10 feet away from me by like a mob of just giant dudes, and then right there in the middle, like, hey everybody, how are you? It was cool.
That's what's up.
Yeah, but it's
1 year.
It's big. If you don't have like the whole weekend pass thing, it's really hard to see everything. And yeah, you'll want to get a whole bunch of free shit too, because they give away some really
a lot of
really cool
stuff.
swag.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
one of these years.
Yep.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal. He's gonna be around for a minute.
Yeah, and
why not? He's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Not bad to look at. So yeah, he'll be around.
Yep. Superman has started filming outside, so there's a lot of shots. Suit looks cool. It still looks a little baggy. I think there's a purpose for that.
Yeah, we talked about that. I think so as well. I think if it's not for editorial purposes, we mentioned it could be one of those things where if we understand that the suit is homemade, it's the first kind of homemade suit, so it doesn't really kind of fit well, and it's like those are the first kind of shots before it's like, oh, here's your upgraded one, and that's the one they're not showing us.
Maybe Ma Kent made it a little bit bigger because she's like, well, I don't know if you're going to keep growing or not. I mean, you're so big already.
Right.
That type of stuff.
I didn't want it to be too tight.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to be doing a lot of flying, a lot of punching, so, who knows. But yeah, it looks cool. Mr. Terrific looks fantastic, or shall I say terrific.
No, there it is.
Oh, my God, I went there. I shouldn't have. Anyways, Hawkgirl looks great, and Guy Gardner looks like Guy Gardner.
I'll have to take your word for it.
People are complaining, though, which, there's a reason why people are complaining other than seeing too many things before the movie starts. But,
I mean, we kind of spoke to that a little briefly.
Yeah.
Where I do have a small theory about that, but
it's free advertising.
Yeah, well, it's not only is it free advertising, but it's a way to test waters of what people, you can read enough comments and see what people are thinking about things. It's not too late to hit the editing room if you think some comments are too harsh, or if you you need to maybe add things because you're going to have your test screenings as well. Mm-hmm. So, because we were talking about how I feel like a lot of these shots from the filming used to be like, you maybe got one shot and it was in the newspaper and it was like, oh, somebody was able to get some footage and the studio's really mad this got out. Now it seems to be kind of like this, oh, here's some set shots.
Right.
They're out there. It doesn't seem to be as hush hush as it used to be. And my little small theory is that a lot of the studios are allowing this because it's it's free advertisement and it's a way to see what people are thinking. So if already they're like, oh, here's a suit that we made, let's release the shots of what they think of the suit. And if enough people are like, boy, the suit looks like shit, then either like, okay, then it's a good thing we have an upgrade coming, or it's like, ooh, maybe we should kind of see what we can do. So
yeah, but either way, if you think about it, algorithm wise, if it's being talked about, whether it's being, shat on or not, if it's being praised, then cool. If it's being absolutely ridiculed, then either way, it's still going to be up there in the search feed more than not.
That goes back to the free advertisements. So yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
When we first saw the casting, the least of my worries was how everyone was going to look. If you're saying they got the costumes right, then that's just even further, because cast-wise, the looks are all there.
Well, they got Mr. Terrific's costume right.
Okay.
They got Superman's costume right, in my opinion, because they brought back the red undies, and that's fucking important, in my opinion. Call me classic and call me immature, but that dude needs to wear his underwear on the outside of his pants. People are complaining about the fact that everybody else's, Guy Gardner's and Hawkgirl's outfit, are Mr. Terrific's outfit, but with, a Green Lantern symbol or Hawkgirl colors and everything like that. I think that there's probably a reason for that at that point.
Sure.
Because, well, if Mr. Terrific is able to make things, then he probably made these two their suits.
Correct.
Or,
and you don't know which part of the filming process this is. This could be later after maybe an agreed team up or
right. Or
like that.
So it's like a team has to have a look, that type of thing. And so I trust James Gunn. I trust that
everybody should. Let him cook.
Yeah. There's also shots of Will Reeve, Christopher Reeve's son, being on the set. And he's going to be in the movie in some form or fashion, which is pretty cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
But the other side of Superman is Batman. And Batman, the Cape Crusader cartoon, has a trailer.
It does.
It looks really cool.
It does.
I'm really jazzed to see a comic book character back in the 30s era. Kind of gives it that Max Fleischer feel, which is what, Bruce Timm basically based the Batman animated series off of, that Max Fleischer style. So,
in a time when we're hitting a bunch of nostalgia buttons, why not bring back something that reminds everybody of an animated series? And then you get the dude who just did this last Batman, Matt Reeves. You get J.J. Abrams involved. You have some hitters in it, so the stories are going to be great. It's going to look great.
Mm-hmm.
And, someone's going to take that, and I think we're going to eventually get a live action Batman that is set more in like the 30s that's similar to an animated series.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to this as well. There's a really great shot. There's a really great, we were talking about, I thought it was interesting where you said two faces, jacked up faces on the other side.
Yeah, so that's making me wonder if it's Clayface, not Two-Face.
Yeah.
I don't know, because unless they just decided, why don't we try putting his messed up part on the other side?
Why not? I say.
They haven't done that yet.
Why not?
So
I say, unless you're really going off of this play of the left brain, right brain type of thing, and that's why one side has to be a certain kind of jacked up, then if one side is just purely coincidental, then why not just make it the other side? No,
right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So
who knows?
I do like the other shot where the homie dude's telling him was like, well, you know that like for every one you take, there's just gonna be another one that pops up, and he's like, that's fine. Now they all know I'm coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to hear some pretty cool Batman lines, as well we should. It looks good. It looks classy. It looks
like they might even try to do a different beginning run at the Joker, because we have a Harley Quinn-esque character come out and say, this city doesn't belong to the king anymore. It belongs to the jester.
right.
And so there might be a different play on Joker. So that looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. More Batman. I'm always for more Batman.
And it's also interesting that it's being released on Amazon, not on HBO, because it is a Warner Brothers owned material, a property. So the fact that it's being released on Amazon just means that, Warner Brothers is doing this deal that they, said they were going to be doing. Hell, we've got Batman and Superman, Zack Snyder movies and stuff like that on Disney Plus at this point. Got a new place to watch superhero stuff, not just Warner Brothers or HBO and Disney Plus. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Also, we have another Hellboy trailer, which we watched, and I'm still wondering if I watched it or not.
Yes, there was a new Hellboy trailer that did release, and I'll basically say it like, like we said, the first Hellboy is not a great movie. I mean, people, come at me, just say whatever you will. We'll break it all down. I will defend that statement till that the first Hellboy is not a great movie. It is a good movie. It is a kind of a cult classic it was another movie that kind of got made right before Hollywood kind of figured out how to do this comic book thing.
Correct.
And I think everybody likes that second one because it's Guillermo del Toro, and he puts this really crazy spin on it.
Sure does.
Right. And then there's this third one. So what I'm going to say is, there hasn't been a reason, like if someone's sitting around and they're going like, oh, we need to capitalize off this Hellboy success, I would say, what Hellboy success? In and enough to where you felt like you had to make another one.
What's his name from Stranger Things?
David Harbour.
David Harbour. That third one. I mean, that one wasn't even good at all.
Right.
When I watched it, I was like, I think we should, just let it die.
Yeah.
Let it die. Or if you're going to do it, make it look like it did in the comics. Not just put a guy in makeup and have him walking around looking like a guy in makeup. Just make him look like this demon-esque character with the bent-up legs and the frickin' hooves and the extremely huge arm and then the extremely skinny arm. Just frickin' do it if you're going to do it. But if not, then just stop. Because we've already seen the three, now going to be the fourth version of what it's not supposed to look like.
Right.
Abe Sapien looks kind of cool. All these different characters, they all kind of look cool and everything. Yeah, they did it somewhat justice, but at the same time, We've already seen it.
Right.
We've already seen it. Now they're just going, well, this one's going to be scarier. And there's less of a big budget, so you're not going to have a bunch of CGI stuff in your face.
Brought to you by Ketchup and Millennium. Those big, huge budget studios that have been around since we've been younger.
Right.
And then doing things. Yeah, Ketchup and Millennium. But not to hate on Ketchup and Millennium. I'm pretty sure y'all are fine companies that do fine things.
I've never heard of Ketchup.
Never heard of Ketchup. I feel like Millennium.
I've heard of Millennium, but it's just Ketchup. It's like that's got to be a new thing or an off. I don't know.
I hope they relish this situation.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that Hellboy is another entity that might work a little better if you take the premise of the first one where you have this dude that gets hired by this guy to come and basically babysit Hellboy as part of this thing, and you take where every week, it's an episodic thing. You can make it a TV show. Every week they just discover it's like a Ghostbusters thing. Something goes bump in the night. They call them, they go out, they investigate it, but then it's all tied into this overall super plot where maybe somebody is calling these different things, or these things are a distraction to some other things that's going on, and you can make a couple seasons out of it. Boom.
I always thought they should have done that with Ghost Rider, where you have him just going from, just like he's a biker. So was he just going to stay in one city and just constantly just be hunted down by cops or whatever it may be? It's just like he's going to keep traveling. If you were to have him go from town to town, and already when he gets in there, you're going to have certain people like looking at him like, who's this riffraff? Get out of here, get back on your horse and ride away, that type of shit.
I say if you set Ghost Rider in like the Western type of
started off with that. Started off with that. Yeah. And then go into, if you go into seasons after season, but yeah, just so you can have multiple episodes. It doesn't just have to be 1 2-hour movie where you tie it all up in a little bow and then here you go, here's your movie. You let it build up to this main bad guy. So that's just been my opinion.
Well, I think the only problem with that is I don't think a lot of people have the patience to sit and wait for a fucking Ghost Rider to get in his bag.
No, he'd have to do it every episode.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. No, not just like wait until like the end of the show for him to be Ghost Rider. No way. No, he'd have to, you'd have to have a reason for him to continuously be Ghost Rider. That's what they did with every issue of the comic books anyway. So you could do that with different episodes. I don't know. It's just an idea.
No, I know.
They're not going to do it. They're going to make a movie.
Well, because Ghost Rider is a big movie entity if you can do it right.
Right.
If you can do it right, you can make a real big splash with Ghost Rider.
Especially like,
a lot of people really like that Nick Cage Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
A lot of people really like it.
I like the second one more than the first one. I wouldn't say it took it to a darker level. It just took it to a more gritty level. Let's just say that. Just this demon
I don't remember
burning,
those films.
fucking possessed look.
Yeah. I'd have to watch those films again.
Yeah.
Ghost Rider 1 and 2.
First one's not bad. Visually, like when you see them riding on the motorcycle next to Sam Elliott's character on the horse, and they're just like the fire, that right there, that's a poster.
Yeah.
That's a metal album cover.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cheers. No, seriously. So
Dig.
I don't know why they're making another Hellboy movie, but I guess they're just gonna keep doing it.
Somebody's losing the. I don't know. Well, y'all were telling me about the whole thing where I guess it doesn't even matter if you lose rights to anything anymore after a certain time. So.
Oh, you mean public domain?
Yeah.
That's why we got that Winnie the Pooh movie, Blood and Honey, and all that. And then they had a sequel to that, and now we're gonna have a Steamboat Willie versus Winnie the Pooh.
Cool.
Yeah.
For kids.
But yeah, for kids. Exactly. For the kids. Should we talk about what we just watched? Or
sure.
Should we talk about that later? Because I just feel like that's...
We can talk about what we just watched because I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It's pretty cut, straightforward.
We watched Beverly Hills Cop 4. So, what did you think?
I think that if you're a fan of Beverly Hills Cop, especially the first two, then you'll really like this one.
Yeah.
And I really like it as far as if you like, if you're a fan of Axel Foley, this is an Axel Foley I'm in Beverly Hills again, and I'm not supposed to be, and I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to get my answers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For those of you who are also worried, if you watched, say, Coming to America 2 and realized that movie was PG-13, you went, oh, I'm not going to watch the next Beverly Hills Cop because it seems like that's probably going to be PG-13 as well. No, this is quite R. Not like, you're seeing exposed breasts like in the first movie or not and stuff like that. But you're getting quite a lot of F-bombs. And
another thought I had, too, when you had kind of mentioned that and I was kind of thinking about it, I will say, if you need to make your movie rated R to make it good, it's a red flag. In my opinion, it's kind of a red flag. And then I was thinking about that thought, and I was like, yeah, but what about rap lyrics and things? There's always the explicit version. It's like, yeah, but there's also a lot of things that you can say. Like, for instance, Will Smith doesn't have to rap curse in his rap. Well, I do. So fuck him and fuck you too. It's like, okay, well, no, you don't have to. That speaks to a writing thing. It's just your use of vocabulary. But if it's a kind of thing where you're like, man, this movie might have been better if it was rated R, and if you think it's more for just a uses of words in the actual story writing, then I would be of a mind of like, well, even Prince at one point says, no, I can still get a great message across and use zero profanity.
Right.
So that's more, and again, didn't take away from the movie, but I kind of thought about that when you said it, like, if people who saw Coming to America 2 were like, if Beverly Hills Cop 4 it better be rated R, I'm not going to see it. And I'm like, then I feel like you had a mind to not see it already. Because I would have seen it whether it was PG-13 or not, because I'm a fan of Axel Foley. And if you saw Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Well, you'd be surprised that one was rated R. Very surprised at that point.
If you saw Beverly Hills Cop 3, that was as close to an R-rated PG-13 movie as you can get. But what were my thoughts? This movie was a fine film. The other thing that we were kind of talking about, one small negative takeaway is I don't like this thing of, so basically, if you're a fan of Axel Foley and you see 1 and 2,
slight spoilers possibly ahead.
Yeah, and if you see 1 and 2, and by the time you get to the third one, if you watch this fourth one, then the movie would have us believe that in the middle of the third one, when you're watching that Axel Foley had a daughter out there somewhere that he just wasn't, that he would say he moved out of Detroit, but then just didn't keep in contact with. And it's like, I don't like how that had to be the narrative. Why couldn't it be that he had a daughter and was like, when he's getting into these antics, it's like, oh, Dad, why do you keep doing this? Or why are you in this predicament again? Yeah, I'll help you. I'm mad. Like, I told you if you got into this again, then I wouldn't talk to you. Oh, but Uncle Billy's in trouble. Fine, I'll help you out this last time. And they already have this good relationship. It sucks that it has to be this, especially, just speaking from a person of color, where a narrative, we already have enough deadbeat fathers out there. We already have this narrative. It just sucks to kind of once again see this narrative of like, oh, Axel Foley was this great cop, terrible dad. So, and again, wasn't a takeaway. It was still great. It's just, in the back of my mind, I was kind of thinking about that. Like, man, that's kind of unfortunate that has to be kind of a narrative in the story. But,
yeah. Well, it just seems that Hollywood these days are saying like, hey, you know what? If we're bringing back a hero and a character that is well known, why don't we put a twist on it? Why don't we make them either ultra depressed or an alcoholic, or make them feel such like loss that they're no longer that character that we all know, so that way they can build themselves back up, or when they finally get to a certain point, we can all scream huzzah and rise out of our seats in joy that he's now or she is now that character again. And why not just make them that character from the fucking get-go? I know I could have said that without a curse word and still put my point across, but I just think that it's unnecessary if we're going to a movie that is not reality, that we should have to watch something that is either a reminder or something that we can relate to when it comes to something that, if you're going to watch it and be happy about this character, and then all of a sudden they're like, no, you have to be depressed about this character in order to be happy about this character. I hate that shit. I really do. And that seems to be this new thing with Luke and Indiana Jones And now Axel Foley. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple more that I've missed, but
those are the biggest ones that we've especially talked about before.
Right.
So yeah, I just, it's like, it to me, it falls under that same umbrella of what they're trying to do with basically villains, where villains aren't evil. They're just, completely misunderstood. And it's just this and that. And it's like, nah, there's just some good people out there. And then there's just some bad people out there,
right.
And they don't need to dive deeper into it. That some people are just good because they want to do good.
Yeah.
Some people are just bad because they want to do bad, and there doesn't have to be any kind of deep understanding. Like Joker said, some people just want to watch the world burn.
You know what we should have?
You know what I mean?
We should have an origin story for Hans Gruber, so that way we can feel sorry for him when he falls off the building at the end of the movie.
Nah. I would feel bad for Hans Gruber, but, when he goes into his Bill Clay, that's just an insult. Bill Clay. Oh, you're one of them? Oh, God, no, please, please. Oh, God, don't kill me, please, please, please. Like, come on, man. Really? You're an insult to all Bill Clays out there. I know Bill Clay. Bill Clay don't sound like that.
Well, I don't know Bill, but...
Bill Clay's a pimp.
There it is.
Hey, Bill Clay doesn't sound like that. In fact, Bill Clay always speaks in third person, and watch out when Bill Clay come around. You better have his money, or it's a rough day.
All right.
Yeah, man.
There it is. Mm-hmm. Good old Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll take it to the Clay court. It's not a game.
Don't call him William.
Oh.
No.
You better have his money if you do.
There it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Beverly Hills Cop, my opinion on it was that it was another Beverly Hills Cop movie.
It was good to see the crew.
It was.
Yeah. Really good to see the crew together. The chemistry was cool.
It didn't seem like anything was...
The chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah, the
power surge.
The magnetic...
Yeah. Good old power surge. That was good. Man. That was a good scene, bro.
Balky is back.
No, I cannot. I'm telling you.
Yeah, Balky's also another throwback for anybody who actually...
Was he in all of them, or did he miss the second one? I think he was in all of them, right?
I don't think that he was in the second one.
I think he missed the second one.
I think he missed the second one. The third one was when he was selling the guns and that giant fucking thing.
Get the fuck out of here. Who's going to buy this shit? Oh, I have these on order. Get the fuck out of here. No, I cannot. Sounds like a boy has one. Slash Stallone bought one.
Yeah, no, it was good to see him. And Rosewood and the original Stakeout crew was great. JGL did not seem forced into the movie. He seemed like he fit in there just fine.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Did a great job. Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah. I don't really have too much
it's a good Eddie Murphy.
Say about
it's a good Beverly Hills Cop Eddie Murphy film.
Yeah.
Well done. They're probably going to make a fifth one. We don't need one, but they're probably going to.
If this is well received as I think it's going to be, yeah, probably.
Can we? Ooh, okay. Spoilers. Spoilers. If you don't want to hear anything about the movie, spoilers. I'm going to give you all at 3, 2, 1.
Skip ahead like 2 minutes.
Was that Shooter McGavin? Because no one ever calls him Shooter, but he's the same dude on a golf course, and it is a Netflix movie, and Happy Gilmore 2 is coming out. And it's one of those things where, like, the fucking plane drops up. Where my brain went to when he was like, "You're kind of putting me in a pickle legally here." My brain went, "Well, yeah," because he knows he has to play it where it lies. He's gonna have to shoot around the helicopter this way, and he's tired of shit like this happening.
Dude,
So was that Shooter McGavin?
I don't know. We will have to check the credits.
Because that's just such a random thing. Because you can go get anyone. Why get him in particular and kind of make him look like Shooter, knowing you have Happy Gilmore 2? It's already announced.
Yeah,
knowing
I think it's already started filming. I could be wrong, but I think they already started filming it. So
yeah.
Who knows? Which
means that Axel Foley would exist in Happy Gilmore's world, which is great.
If that is the case, then yes, that's insane.
They exist in the same universe.
That's Beverly Hills Cop 5.
That would be pretty nice.
That's the fifth one where he teams up with Happy Gilmore.
Don't.
That's gonna happen.
Nah.
There you go.
You're
welcome.
Yeah. Just make the next Eddie Murphy. Just make an Eddie Murphy Adam Sandler like buddy movie, and then you just do that. Unless like, oh, okay. See, now my brain is going to dumb places where now it's like, oh, what if Eddie Murphy shows up as like fucking Chubbs' kid? He's like, oh yeah, my pops told me about you, blah, 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 blah. And then that could be the fucking comparison and the whole link. And
Yeah, don't do that.
no.
Well, I mean,
well, they're already listening.
Yep.
I've already given them an idea. So go ahead and take it. And don't pay me for it. Y'all welcome, man. Y'all have taken a couple of my ideas, so that's fine.
no, pay him.
That's
Pay the
fine.
man.
That's fine.
Pay that man his money.
Nah, they'll just disappear me. I'm not going to demand too much, man. They got too much money.
Yeah. I believe that one. I believe that one.
Beverly Hills Cop, would I recommend it? I would recommend it if you are a fan of Beverly Hills Cop. If you're a fan of Eddie Murphy, I would also recommend it. If you're not either one of those two, you probably will.
Probably won't watch it.
Halfway through, I think you might get on your phone. It won't get your whole attention. I'll say that.
There it is.
That's my final review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that is also the finale of the news.
The news. Oh, that was all the news. See what I did there?
I didn't do.
All right, then. Is it meat and potatoes time?
It is meat and potatoes time.
It's time to eat. And what a tasty meal I think we do have indeed.
Yes, just like We Are Back, X-Men, the 90s cartoon that was inspired by an episode or a pilot, Pride of the X-Men, which it all comes full circle towards the end, but we'll get to that at the end of all of this. Yeah, X-Men 97, folks. What did you think?
For someone who didn't really watch the original source material, I mean, I knew of it. I had friends who read the comics religiously. So when the show came out, it was, putting those comics to life. Animated Saturday morning. I think Saturday mornings at those times, I was probably either watching wrestling or something else. It wasn't really X-Men. So that being said, I really enjoyed this an awful lot.
Good.
I can see where the love carried over into this one. I don't think maybe someone had the vocabulary at the time to express to me like, yo, you need to watch this. This is that good. If they were watching it, they were watching. If you didn't watch it, it was like, oh, okay, whatever. As opposed to now, I feel like we're especially in the nerd community where it's like, yo, no, we want you, be one of us. If you like this, you're going to like this.
Right.
So I thoroughly enjoyed this. And with a lot of things that they're putting out in the MCU, this is some of the best writing we've gotten out of this group. So I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. As somebody who did watch it from the first episode to the second episode, back to the first episode, back to the second episode, back to the first episode. I say it like this because
the second episode, right back to the first episode.
I don't know what happened, but it was maybe they just weren't prepared to release the entire season, and they just said, "Oh, this is going to fail anyways. Nobody's going to care." I know that they expressed something like that at one point, but they just kept replaying the first and second episode for like 3-4 weeks straight, and then finally started bringing out the episodes after that. So I don't know what the deal was with that, but you got to know those characters very well. And the rest of the show itself, for me, was a comic book coming to life. The only competition at that point was the Batman animated series.
That I did watch a little bit more. Didn't religiously watch that either, but that I did watch that a little bit more than this.
Yeah.
The next one.
Yeah. But as far as it being a continuation, it genuinely was a continuation. I mean, if you watched the show, if you even watched anything about like what this show and this series was, it's the same shit. I mean, you got the old characters back, or at least the old voice actors back, and then you got new people who have taken on the roles just flawlessly to the point where, I mean, you don't really hear much of a difference. I hear it a little bit with Xavier, but this Xavier's got a little bit more of a, I don't know, teacher vibe as opposed to the other one. It's very dramatic, but so was the entire show. Even so was the entire, I guess, comic book. I mean, it literally was a soap opera. And it has that old Stanley soap opera feel to it in this Very much so, because of the fact that you're dealing with these kind of real world problems. Everybody's got these problems, relationship problems, and, can I be with you? Should I be with you? Will I be with you? All these different things. I will say one thing. It's part of my notes here. X-Men 97's bringing sexy back. Man, it seemed like everybody wanted to have sex with everybody in this show. I don't know what it was, but yeah, there was some massive sexual tension almost in every single episode.
I mean, the show had to grow up a little bit with its audience, right? So
yeah,
still
sure.
make it, still know that the last time probably your core audience was watching this, and you know who you're making it for. You know your core audience. You made it X-Men 97. You didn't change anything. You clearly listen to the fans. So what you're also going to do is go, pretty sure some of y'all have grown up. Pretty sure you have kids. You're showing this. Let's throw some stuff in here for y'all.
Yeah, right.
Let's throw some stuff in here that, if you used to talk about them, like, oh, what if they hooked up with this and blah, blah, blah. Like, you've all talked about this in your nerd circles. Let's just put it in some little live action for you and let you really talk about it.
I will say that there were some points in this road. If I had kids, I'd be like, you're 6. Hold on a second. Hey, check that out over there. You don't look at the screen for a minute. Like,
I think it's brilliant. I think they want those moments.
Yeah. Well,
they know there's just a whole room that, would you look over there for a second, little guy? Like, whoo, okay. Right. Nice. Went for it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we can start somewhat getting into details. The first thing I want to talk about is just the first episode itself. The whole opening action sequence when you have your introduction to Sunspot, and then you have the hillbillies taking the mutants, and they have the giant sentinel arm splayed out. Scott's, what I call his blast foo, his moving around and his use of the optic blast, other than just shooting it at something to make something explode or to make a character fly back. He was using
shooting it into the sky in anguish.
Right.
Gene! This life!
Gene! But
just birds just evaporate.
Right. So many birds.
A plane crashes somewhere.
Why do we have this Cyclops guy? He's all the birds. He kills so many birds. Sorry. Worse than windmills.
You leave him out of this, man.
Worse than windmills.
This is a happy time for happy people. Let that man deal with what's coming eventually. I don't know.
We'll see.
But yeah,
I mean, there's got to be something that happens, right?
We'll see. We're talking about X-Men 97.
What are we talking about?
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, so
we're talking about Cyclops.
Cyclops and his
beam
blast
flu.
foo.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Again, I didn't watch the original source material. As we kind of spoke to earlier, X-Men didn't get on my radar till probably most, I would say, normal folk at the time did, when it was like, what, you got Patrick Stewart, Halle Berry, and who's this Hugh Jackman? They go on to be in a movie at the same time? This is crazy. Like, what's going on here? Ian McKellen. What? What's this nonsense? Like, I'll watch X-Men. Like, you've heard of him, but you didn't. I'd heard of him, but I didn't really know, right? Outside of my conversations with my friends. And so, damn, I had a pothole. Where was I going with that?
Cyclops.
Boom.
And
Cyclops and the beam foo.
Yeah.
Have we seen that before?
Something
like that?
I haven't seen anything like that. I didn't see anything like that in the original series, and it basically, a lot of stuff got stepped up in this. I mean, like, one of my notes is that Jean Grey throws a half a building. And she does. Like, there's a half a building about to fall on everybody. And she just kind of goes to the ground, uses her powers, and then throws it like 7 city blocks into the water. And I went, all right. She threw a fucking building.
Your man jumps out the plane and then beams himself to a stop.
That was some of the coolest.
And then says, like, to me, my X-Men, and then does like that whole thing was great.
That whole setup, like when like they all start coming out of the plane, and then you have Morph turned into Angel, goes and grabs Wolverine. And then you have Rogue doing her. Basically, they let Rogue be Superman or Supergirl, whatever. But she was doing all the things that you really wanted to see her do. And they're like, "What? If there's a list, what are we going to do? Let's do them all."
Check. Checklist.
So her going after those two, and then Storm going after, I forgot who it was. Anywho, Scott had zero worry. He was like, "Good job, everybody. See you on the ground."
On the ground.
And he just starts blasting this giant blast. And you start thinking about it going, oh, yeah. He's slowing himself down. Parachute? What parachute?
Right.
You know, it just was some of the coolest shit.
That's why it's like, has anyone thought to do this before? Because it's like, man, how many missed opportunities? Like, how many people watching that have written Cyclops and just went, yeah. Like, of course he'd be able to. When the first time I saw it and he grabs dude and just and moves backwards, I'm just like, of course. Oh my God, brilliant.
Yeah, moves
the fuck. Yes.
Moves himself out of the way, then turns around, hits somebody, moves himself back, and then just he kept on moving around. It was blast foo. It was just it was kind of like the Equilibrium. It was his version of using a gun with kung fu, but it's optic blast with kung fu. He knew what to do just flawlessly. I don't know.
I don't want to go off on a tangent, but Equilibrium is such a good movie.
It really is.
Hey, y'all, if y'all haven't seen Equilibrium, go watch Equilibrium, by the way.
Yeah. No,
would have been a bigger movie if it didn't come out like right as The Matrix came out.
Everybody was saying it was a complete ripoff, and you're like, oh, a completely different story. You can
see why people would say that, though. But yes,
they're wearing the black and everything, so everybody's like, look, black and guns, so that means black same movie, they're ripping it off. And no. Watch a fucking movie.
Anyway, not to go off on a tangent.
We don't do that.
Equilibrium's great, y'all.
That's not us.
Just like X-Men 97 is great. And that's what we're talking about.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
All right.
And we're back in form.
That's right.
The winning formula. I think everyone's intro to this in episode 1, everybody just having their boom, here we are. I think it was at the same time, a nice nostalgia button for like, hey, y'all, remember, here they are. We're back. Time. And for new people to going like, hey, if y'all don't know who the X-Men are, you've only kind of heard of this, or I'm sure you've heard from your friends, bro, X-Men 97, it was the best show. So it's like, no, let's show you a little bit why people thought this way. They got in their bag.
I don't know if it still has it, but it had and had a long running. It should still possibly maybe have it 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. 100%. Like the one Marvel.
I'm sure it stayed that way with everybody going back to check it out.
Dude, you know what I mean? And when you were saying the nostalgia button, that whole opening fight with them fighting the Sentinels in the junkyard, it looked and reminded me a lot of the opening credits, the original opening credits. Even you see it in there, the blues and the purples and everything, Rogue fighting the Sentinels and everything and flipping them over. All of that whole fight was just, hey, you remember the credits? Here's the credit. Here's that fight you see in the credits.
Speaking of the opening credits, good on them to just not even change it at all.
No, other than
you update a little bit,
right.
Update the people that are in there. But as far as like the music, it's like we're just gonna we're not gonna do any kind of new stylized version. Or we added some new guitars. Like no, we're just gonna keep it. This is what you remember.
Right
here it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and other than adding certain characters as they kind of either like join the episode or join the team, like when Magneto was, in episode 2, all of a sudden you see Magneto as one of the characters at the beginning. And then when Nightcrawler came on, they added Nightcrawler in. What I did like about those opening credits, it for each episode, whether it tied in or not, it mostly did. Yeah. They added little clips that were from the series previous. So all of a sudden you're like, oh, I remember that episode of Apocalypse and Cable, and that's the one where she was fighting the people on the ground.
And clips from like the original intro, as well? Well, updated or
yeah, everything was updated, but you still got to see certain things that happened in the series before. So I like that they did that. I did catch something that was kind of awesome. that tugged at my heartstrings a little bit.
Speak on it.
You know how like the last person you see in the Marvel Studios opening is Chadwick?
Yes.
The last person you see in the Marvel animation is Chadwick.
They keep it pretty consistent.
I was like, oh man.
They keep it pretty consistent.
Awesome. That's
I like
awesome. Yeah. Also, that drum beat. I love that opening drum beat for the Marvel animation part.
Somebody turned up their toms, man.
Yeah.
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 Speaking of Magneto, we were talking about how about all of a sudden it's like, nope, Charles left the X-Men to me. Like,
I'm a good guy now.
what kind of bet did you win?
Right.
What's going on here? It was a bad game of rummy. The hell?
You know, I can't say that I was expecting that other than, you know, seeing the trailers and them kind of spoiling that. I think that was something that you should leave out of the trailers.
They put that in the trailer?
They did put that in the trailers.
I don't know if I remember that.
I think that was the second trailer they put out.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
It was a surprise to me.
Good. Good. I'm glad it was a surprise to somebody.
We were talking about the writing. Like, most of my notes are just mainly storyline beats. They're just like, man, they went for it. Like, Magneto and Rogue
Yeah.
were a thing.
Yeah.
Is that canon? Was that known?
I think that's something.
Everything here is mostly news to me.
Well, I have to definitely go back and watch. I remember
that's big news.
I remember buying the DVDs of the original series as they came out, and I watched them as I bought them. It's been a while since I watched it. Been a while since I have watched the X-Men. Yeah. So I'm going to definitely watch it over again. Hopefully, the same way I can watch Star Trek: The Next Generation. You know, just throw it on and enjoy it. But we'll see. I know that there's some key episodes that some people say that you should definitely go back and watch. I will say this. Let me look at my X Notes. X Notes 24. Yeah. Already talked about Scott's Blast Foo. I enjoyed the fact that, and I don't know if they did this in the original series, but the blast sound from the Sentinel hand and any of the Sentinels when they're doing any type of blasting, you get your initial like cannon and you know giant boom blast, but they also added in the War of the Worlds sound effect from the original movie.
I did not notice.
Yeah, I noticed that the second watch around, like all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute. And went back 10 seconds. I'm like, that is definitely the sound effect from War of the Worlds. So that was pretty cool.
All right. Dig.
Yeah. And I also really enjoyed that Wolverine is short again.
Well,
there's something about it.
This whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing against you, Hugh. We've all enjoyed your version. But man, it's nice to have Wolverine short again.
New Wolverine will be a little shorter.
You think?
I think he's going to be a short squat. They'll find a nice little powerlifting-like dude, but it'll be, you know. I think so.
Have you seen these Danny DeVito pictures of, like, you know, that people have done of Danny DeVito as Wolverine?
No.
Oh, my God.
Old Frank Reynolds out there being Wolverine.
Oh, my God. Somebody did a full-on movie trailer using Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito's Wolverine?
Yeah. Wow. No, it's pretty epic.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to go that direction.
That'd be a bold choice.
Which, at some point, when you watch the Pride of the X-Men, I got to show you that, because the person they chose for Wolverine has an Australian accent.
There you go.
And you're watching going,
there you go.
That does not work at all. This Canadian has an Australian accent. Why is this?
That means what a missed opportunity. They could have Mel Gibson does Logan.
Well, back in the day casting, which is
man.
Wizard Magazine. I don't know if anybody out there remembers Wizard Magazine, but Wizard Magazine had a segment of their magazine every time of, like, you know, the fan casting, their casting of what movies, something like Hellboy and Captain America, all this different stuff. And in that, they automatically chose Patrick Stewart for Professor X.
I mean, I think I heard that talk when he got cast the original run. I think I heard something about that.
But like
he's the perfect casting because there he is.
I mean, yeah, it worked. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I bought it. But then again, I'm a Star Trek: The Next Generation fan. I don't know if I've mentioned that already in the show, but yeah,
only once or twice. It's fine. It's fine.
Every now and then.
It's fine.
Star Trek.
What else did I like? I like the storyline where Storm loses her powers.
Yeah. Again, soap opera.
Yeah.
You know, that you're dealing with the fact that you're not you whether it's you lost your job or you lost the ability to do something, you know, sports wise, or you lost the whatever it was that you used to be able to do and can no longer do, that you were passionate about, that it was just that it described who you were.
Right. Spend so much time everybody's calling her a goddess. You're a goddess. You're a goddess. And then she loses her powers. It's like,
You ain't shit.
I'm just Aurora. But what is even that? I laugh because you said soap opera. I was thinking nothing got more soap opera in that whole thing than doesn't Forge tell her that he loves her and she just slaps him or something?
Well, at one point it was like, you know, he talks about how
like,
I have to admit it was pretty much because of me that you lost your powers, because they based their inventions off of his work. She's like, oh, so this entire time, you know, it's all been a lie. And he goes, no, yes, but not how I feel about you. And I'm like, oh, bro, timing is everything. You might want to just let her calm down before you're like, but I love you. I've been lying to you, but I love you.
And she's all that. Was I just a bet? No, baby. No. I love you for who you are. You know, I mean, you know, Storm is, you know, I mean, Storm's cool. Love. But
I like Wind. Wind's cool.
Yeah, so that was cool.
I liked her getting the powers back. That whole scene. I remember that it kind of was an homage to the Man of Steel, where he finally gets his powers and he's, you know, flying around and doing the whole thing.
Discovering what he can do.
Right.
And all that. Like, oh, look at me.
Yeah.
Look what I can do. Let me test myself. Further, faster, stronger.
Right. She did get her hair back, but then again, I mean, she did also put on, you know, generate different clothing.
Right.
Through the power of the elements.
Yeah. Right.
But I dug the mohawk look, and I thought she should have kept the mohawk look. Now, then again, it could be just underneath that headband thing that she's wearing, and the hair's down. I don't know, but mohawk.
I don't want to pretend to get inside the fashion sense of a goddess, man. That's a whole...
I'm not either.
She got a lot going on up there, man. Mohawk it up, don't mohawk it up. But I know what you mean. It was nice to see her.
She just cut her hair to a mohawk, and then all of a sudden she's like, you know what? Power's back.
Power's back time.
Let's bring that hair back.
Some different kind of black girl magic, man. You know.
Hey, I enjoy it, but at the same time, consistency, damn it. Like, keep the mohawk, at least for the rest of the episodes. Damn it.
Ain't nothing like costume change, baby.
Well, that's a hell of a costume change when your hair grows back that quick.
Boom.
I mean,
could be a quick wig. You never know.
Hey, you know, she put it on when she was in space. She was just like, done.
It's just a black hole. This is folded. It's fucking. It's cool. Or she just took a storm cloud.
Her hair is a giant storm cloud, or a mini storm cloud at that point.
There you go. And the mohawk's like a lightning bolt. So like switch. First you get the lightning, then you get the thunder. Thunderstruck. What's your next? We gotta go somewhere note for note. Back and forth.
The Motendo episode was fun, but a filler.
Yeah. You know.
It didn't really.
You know, before we destroy an entire like island and shit. Y'all remember when we were just playing video games? That was fun, right?
Yeah, it was kind of just a hey. Before shit gets real. Whee!
Right.
You know.
Right. It's Thor's movie before Endgame.
Right. Yeah, Ragnarok. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely was. But it didn't have anything that tied into the rest of the episodes, really. Like even her discovering the program version of her that, again, filler. I've been the whole episode of like, okay, cool. Fun. Game.
And,
look, hey, check that out. That's
and wasn't that kind of for like a chance for like Jubilee to bond with your mans? So it was like because he was there too. Wasn't it?
Can I say something about that whole that relationship?
It's
they
just
had?
Me, you, and everybody else on the internet. Bro.
That sounds good.
We're all
I hope
good.
you guys don't mind.
This
Nobody
is
out there minds, right?
We can make it, baby. Go ahead,
I didn't buy a cartoon version of a relationship. Now, I know that sounds fucking dumb for an adult male to say, but I didn't care. Like, I didn't give a shit about Sunspot at all. I did not care. He's like, I'm so rich and I hate it. Oh my God. Oh, nobody's gonna care about me. I'm a mutant. And oh, my mom's gonna be so upset. No, my mom's not upset, but she's kind of a bitch. I'm so rich. I have my own plane. I'm single.
Yeah.
Can you write a
there was nothing. Yeah. Nothing that jumped out. Well,
I couldn't relate to him at all.
Here's the thing. Was he a completely new character?
Sunspot? Yes. Sunspot's been around for a bit, but he wasn't like,
Was he in the original?
He wasn't in he's a new character for the series.
New character for 97.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I figure maybe a lot of it is a character that's been around before, but new to this series, surrounded by all these characters that people already know and already love. And it's kind of like, when you showed up to watch a main band and the opening act, you feel like they're just in your way from seeing the main band. So you almost kind of half tune them out because you're like, if you don't grab me right away, I'm whatever. It's not really that the band is bad. It's just like there's a lot else going on where it's just like, we want to get back to what they're doing. We don't really care so much about your choices and your complaints so much. Like, we have your first world problems are a terrible hurricane.
Right.
Maybe that's what I got. Really, the sense of like, okay, let's get back to what are the X-Men doing? I mean,
I understand that he's supposed to be your way in. If you aren't familiar with these characters, you're learning who these characters are at the same time. He was what Jubilee was in the original show, because you learn who Jubilee is, and all of a sudden she then discovers the X-Men through the whole debacle at the mall. But she was, I guess, I don't know, a compelling character. Just
didn't do it for you.
I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't have, even when writing all this down, I don't think I had a single Sunspot note. So that'll tell you how much he...
Correct.
I have a note maybe about at least everybody else, or at least everybody else involved. Sunspot, not at all showing up on the list. So that's as far as I can tell you my love for Sunspot. So
proven.
Right. And I'll say the relationship, even for as great as the writing was, for as complex as the relationship, all of a sudden you have this, and we speak of soap opera, like the walls fall apart and just like, let me guess, you can explain or something like that. I'm just like, man, this thing has gotten real meta where it's the whole like talking through telepathy was our thing, Scott.
Yeah.
Like, man, so as for as complex as they were like, we wrote some stuff in here where this dude was in love with this lady, but then fucking this lady was a clone, but that's his baby mama, but he still loved.
He loves
for as
both,
complex as that was, and then all of a sudden this one also still loves Wolverine. For as complex as that was, the Jubilee Sunspot thing felt like a forced thing.
Absolutely.
Like, let's just give Jubilee a distracting love interest, and boom, that's what it felt like. Not only did we have a gene clone, but it was created by Mr. Sinister.
Correct.
I dug that.
It goes again full circle when it comes to like the first episode and everything. Or first or second episode might be part 2 of the original series.
So this was a dance that they've kind of done.
Oh yeah, like with Morph.
Oh, okay.
Morph was a character that they introduced into the X-Men 97.
So I thought Morph was completely new.
No, he wasn't completely new.
Okay.
He was introduced into the X-Men series in the 90s.
Okay.
But like episode 1 or 2, they kill him off.
Oh.
Right. But all of a sudden he comes back.
Well, any RD.
Right. He comes back and he's bad guy, Morph.
Oh.
But he's being controlled by Mr. Sinister.
Oh.
So that was the whole thing of like when he was saying like, it's like, I know where he is. I know where you need to go. I don't want anybody else to get hurt at this point.
So Mr. Sinister he's a big player in the X-Men world.
Yeah. Yeah. He's been around for a while.
Wonder why they didn't find an angle to throw him, or did they throw him in and I'm just forgetting they threw Mr. Sinister in at some point in the live action?
In the live actions, no, but they hinted towards him, I believe, in the the 80s version of the X-Men First Class. So the third movie.
The first one with Split and Fassbender?
Yeah.
That's where they mentioned Mr. Sinister?
Yeah, but that's the 1980 movie. So 1983. There's 63, 73, and 83.
Oh, so the third one in that run.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did I see that one?
I don't know.
I don't know if I saw that one. I really liked First Class.
First Class was cool. And then
I think second one was meh. And I think at that, I was like, I don't know if I
second one was meh. You didn't like Days of Future Past?
Is that's the one with like everybody's there and
That's,
just
yeah,
time
we're
travel
talking,
one,
yeah,
and
that whole
everybody
thing.
comes and like the whole thing ended up just being in like Wolverine's mind or something like that.
It wasn't in his mind. It was that he was being projected. His consciousness was being projected into his younger self, in his younger body. It's a weird version of time travel, but yeah.
Well, that would show how much I don't know.
You got to watch that one again, especially the Rogue cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll watch it again.
Yeah. I just watched it recently.
First Class was really good though.
First Class was good.
Anyway,
Days of Future Past was good.
Mr. Sinister.
Mr. Sinister. Anyways, they hinted towards him at like in a cutscene at the end through basically the company that he is known.
Did they do it in a real like?
Whatever the
Did
fuck.
they do it in a real Venom way where there's gonna be carnage, where they just do some stuff like things around here are about to get real sinister.
No, they didn't. They didn't do that. I heard that in this next Venom, he's fighting a green one.
Which one's the green one? Is Venom Carnage? He's just
There's been a whole bunch of symbiotes. I
Oscar
guess.
gets bit by the symbiote. He's out the can now. And he's
When
pissed.
Venom has his own comic, they're like, who does he fight? Like, we'll make him fight Carnage and Spider-Man. All right, cool. Then who? Another
a
symbiote.
red one.
And a green one.
Pick a
and
color.
blue.
That one, right?
There's a white one, and then there's a. Who cares?
Because there is a white one in there.
Yeah, I guess. I don't care. It should have been like Venom, Carnage. Leave it alone. Like, no, he's from another planet. It's an alien being. That's like all of a sudden it's fucking Martian Manhunter.
Like something happens.
Venom.
Venom 2.
Dude, something
happens. That's called a callback, everybody. Go check out some of those old episodes of Matinee Review if you haven't already.
Is that what we're doing?
That Sinister, Clone Gene. Oh, should we get to the big? Just the big? We'll get to the big. We can talk about Genosha and that whole thing.
Well, yeah,
Man, they went for it. Oh, by the way, speaking of going for it,
I have that as my next note.
I
the
misspoke
action
earlier.
From Remember It.
I said the movie before Endgame, or the Thor and then Endgame. I meant Infinity War because I'm sure somebody's gonna be like, "That wasn't the right one." I meant,
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
yeah,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
meant because I was thinking, I was like, "Wait, that was not the right movie." Yeah,
I'll just fix it in editing.
you can fix it in editing.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. They won't
All
even
right.
know.
Back to it, Genosha. What the fuck?
That whole thing was starting with Main Blast when Cable comes on and says, "I'm so sorry, Mom," and as he's getting blasted back into time. I mean, just the action overall in this entire series.
Yes.
The choreography, I guess the storyboarding that they did to
Animation, direction,
just-
and everything. Yeah, it's
Man.
very nice.
It's like you said before, it's some of Marvel's best, not just writing, but visuals.
You could tell I was like we were saying at the end of the whole behind the scenes, they really didn't want to fuck this up.
No.
This was one they had to get right.
Yeah. Yeah.
People would have been mad.
I mean, not only did they get it right, but like I said, they stepped it up.
Yeah.
The whole
Right.
watching Rogue go through Genosha and just going after the Sentinels, one after another as she's flying along, Remy, riding the motorcycle. She's doing her full-on superhero pose, Superman pose, just flying through.
You're right. She
Like-
did feel very Supergirl like
Yeah.
in this. As she always is that her kind of is that her
I mean,
deal?
as far as the cartoon goes, she's always was this superpowered. The reason she had those superpowers is because she when she was part of, like, I guess the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, she ended up.
Oh, so she was. Oh, okay.
She was.
So
It just, but
that's the thing that they
the whole sex thing. Like I said, like everybody wanted to have sex with everybody in this series. But the whole, like, you know, we were a couple, and because of his electromagnetic field, we can, you know, actually touch, and then other things. And then she even said, touch. And, you know, and then other things happened too. And it was like, aha.
And what a shot towards your mans, which is he can touch me, I can't touch you, Remy. Like, well, damn, like,
right.
Good Lord, this is what are we watching? It's so adult. What is this?
It really was.
Like, man.
And again,
because I tell you what about Rogue, those live action movies does Rogue no favors when it comes.
Well, it's
to
completely different.
The touch is there. Oh, I can't touch things, but that's about it.
Completely different. Well,
this flying around thing's not there. I mean, it's also like, what are you, Drake? Where's your accent? Like, right. Like, what happened? Like, so disappointing. So disappointing.
The reason they didn't go into the whole superpowered flying around Rogue was due to the fact that X-Men had no rights to the character of, what was she being called at that point? I think it was Captain Marvel. Yeah. I think she was being called Captain Marvel. I don't know. It was based
Captain Marvel.
She fought
so much.
She fought
so many layers,
Captain Marvel and took her powers to the point where it put her into a coma. And she was able to then fly around and be all, you know, super strong. There's a whole couple episodes. You got to watch. You got to watch some X-Men regular.
They will. No. I'm definitely going to go back and just probably like
original
90% of most people, if they didn't watch it before this to get ready, I'm sure they went back after this to.
They'll enjoy it. They're gonna watch some of it, going like, "Oh yeah, this is definitely Saturday morning cartoon." But
I mean, if the writing was even anything, you know, one thing that we were, you know, watching that behind the scenes thing, I really was a little naive to, you know, really how powerful the X-Men message really is when you stop and think about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, I think this, you know, you can almost really easily go with either side when it comes to Charles, when it comes to, you know, Magneto. Like, you get it, you know.
The shit that Magneto went through,
Eric?
even as a kid.
Eric?
Yeah, Eric Lyncher.
Yeah, when it comes to Eric and Charles, like, one of the little mini themes of this whole thing is Magneto was right. Yeah. At a certain point. So you're just like, man, wow, you know.
Yeah. No, I even have a note here for remember it. The last thing he says to Leech is "Don't be afraid," but he says it in German, which is probably one of the last things that his parents said to him before they got separated, and it was just one of those, like, when I watched it the second time around, when I noticed that he said it in German, because it was the first time I watched it, I'm like going, I mean, I know this is loud, but why'd they put subtitles there? And then I watched it again, I'm like, oh shit, and then it hit me even harder. I was like going, oh, wow. Yeah. Like, that whole thing, you could just, like, see this whole little backstory scene as much as we've already seen it 2-3 times in the actual live-action movies. But for his character, you know, you don't remember. I think they did show something, but it wasn't as impactful, you know, as a kid as it is now.
Well, I mean, but I feel like if you're talking about this whole thing where they brought back, like, the original writers and the original, like, actors and all that, then, I mean, man, back then the source material, they were already giving you big life lessons, like guiding you, giving you, you know, how to get along with people and showing you that, like, yeah, people have these differences, but you can channel them into something good. And, like,
well, yeah, the whole thing that Stanley created, or, you know, X-Men 4 was the fact that there was so much going on, you know, during that time. I mean, it was the 70s, so I can't even say you're getting out of the whole fucking segregation bullshit, because it's 2024. We're still dealing with that at this point. But
it's still hotbed.
Yeah, no,
that topic. Then, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, it, like, the things that like, even Beast, he quotes, as he does through practically every episode that Beast is in, he'll quote somebody through history.
Read books, y'all.
Yeah.
Because good Lord, Beast is a great character.
Fuck yeah, he is.
Read some books. Get learned.
I love that he quoted Martin Luther King. He quoted freaking Mr. Rogers. Man, I was just like, this is so good. This is so good. The fact that they're reminding a generation that grew up listening and reading about all these different people, certain things that they had said, but then also introducing it to new audience who, like Mr. Who. I mean, the rate we're going right now, people aren't even going to know who Martin Luther King was in certain freaking states. So, and there's a chance that there are kids or teenagers who don't at this point. Which
there's probably a handful of kids.
Shit, read a book.
Who know who Mr. Rogers is? You know what I mean? They'll make that documentary.
I'm with you on the read a book thing.
Like, read a book.
Read a banned book. Like whatever books are being banned, read that book. There's a reason they're banning it. Because they don't want you to be educated. They want you to be sheep.
Speaking of reading a book and being educated, how about old Charles doing what he does best and giving a whole sit down? Like,
the classes in session.
Lecture everybody real quick. Let me get in my professor bag real quick. And
that was so good. That was so good.
That was well done.
Yeah.
That was well done.
What was it?
I enjoyed that.
He said that, what is it?
I need to rewatch that.
Like living together isn't easy, or I don't know what it was, but coexistence isn't easy. But, it's something that we have to do.
Necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole thing. The whole damn thing. That whole classes and session. He's like, oh, wait a minute. I'm not using my one ability that I can use right now. This is... Give me a minute. Hold on a second. You guys are leaving and panicking at the same... Nah, let's all sit down.
Right.
I loved that. Right. I thought it was great. The background with it. You got the classic blackboard. You got the actual seats.
Yeah.
When she stands up, he's like, no, sit down. It just
demerit. Like right. He handed out demerit. Yeah. It's like, what?
Correct.
Wow.
No, it was really
Somebody's going to get a dunce cap in a minute. Somebody's going to get detention. It's going to be crazy.
That was fun.
That was a good one. Yeah, I had Sit Down by Professor X.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one.
I have that down as classes in session.
Classes in session.
Yeah. Sit down. One episode, we got The Watcher.
Which we live in the building. I remember you're like, oh, go back. Anybody else see that? I totally missed it.
It's very faint. Mm-hmm. It's like right in like the blue sky, but you got this slight outline of the Watcher and the popped collar and everything. It was
when I saw that I went very fun discussion afterwards.
Yeah.
We went in our what if bag.
I think that we're gonna see maybe some what if episodes with some X-Men characters now that we've been introduced to it. And you had him watching in an episode. It's like, what? Watching?
Who watches the Watcher?
Stan Lee.
I think that we're going to be getting some X-Men what ifs.
I think so.
If we get some X-Men what ifs, fuck yeah. Let's go.
Why not?
Let's go. Especially after what we're going to get with Deadpool and Wolverine, which we just talked about. It's going to be fun.
I think so.
I think we're going to see some cool shit. Especially with season 2. Which we'll definitely get into in a bit. But yeah. Because we're definitely getting a season 2.
I think so.
100% on Rotten Tomatoes is the highest rated Marvel project so far.
The way they ended it.
Yeah.
I mean, which we'll get there because...
Well, it's the way that
I want to save that for literally the end.
Right, and you saw it in the making of, but it was true that every episode was to be continued. It was rare if they didn't do that. I think that pretty much every episode was a to be continued. No, the cliffhanger thing was definitely a theme for, the X-Men cartoon as it was with comic books. But yeah.
I have here Order 66 feel. And that's the whole, if your man was a Bastion, if your man's Bastion was like the Emperor, and all of a sudden turning like execute Order 66. All these fucking humans turning to little cyborgs.
He did do an Order 66. Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
I was sitting. I remember just going like, I've seen this beat before. Not that it was like that's just like this, but just like I recognize this.
Yeah.
Evil takeover beat.
Right.
I know this playbook.
You have all your plants in the audience, that type of thing, just waiting for that moment. Yeah.
Flip the switch and they'll be on my team. Yeah. It's like page 8.
Right.
Like one of the world domination takeovers. Like looking to take over the world. Here's one way. Can you make everybody like you with a code word or a switch?
Yeah.
Here you go. We call it the Palpatine.
Unbeknownst to them, they were on your side.
Right.
Congratulations, you are a supervillain.
This one's actually Order 56.
Yes, yes. You're not quite there yet. But good attempt.
This one comes with a side of fries.
Come back next week. Teach you a new trick.
I think Order 56, something like that needs to go onto the menu at Chantams.
Oh. Ooh, Order 56, Chantan.
Because it's not quite Order 66.
We are definitely going to be, like I said before, we're going to be doing some catching up. And speaking of ketchup, we got the new Chantam's ketchup with garlic in it. Ooh, that garlic ketchup. Speaking of Order 56, I do have to mention, I have a note here, Joe Dirt as a Sentinel. When they were lowering that mullet-wearing dude with the mustache into the vat to become a Sentinel. You don't remember that when I said it's Joe Dirt?
Oh,
and then and then the guy goes, "You're average Joe," and I just went, "Oh my God, it's Joe Dirt! It really is." Yeah, no,
that's right. Do you think that was intentional?
I don't know, but I right when I saw it, I was like,
sure. Somebody in the writing room was like, "What do you mean?" It's like, well, it's like Joe Dirt.
Average
No
Joe?
one?
No,
All right.
Never mind. I'll just draw him in. Fuck it. Yeah.
I'm fired. Damn it.
Going back a couple episodes, or maybe I don't know.
I mean, we're
we're all over the place.
I have main two notes, and they're my big notes. They're like my setup and punchline. So I'm saving those for the end.
The moment that Madeline, not Jean, is going to give birth, she's going into labor, and she's saying to Wolverine, like, "Logan, he's here." He's like, "Who? Apocalypse?" She's like, "No, the baby." He's like, "Oh no!" Just like he's terrified at that point,
right?
And then all of a sudden he forgets how to drive, so he's like driving up onto the sidewalk and all this shit. I'm like, "Good God, man, can you calm down?
No.
It's okay.
No,
You guys have fought in space against a woman who's on fire.
Great.
And give me a break, bro. You
great. Nothing like having to deliver this child.
He didn't, thank God. Well, that's probably why he was panicking. Like, I'm not doing this.
If he gets nervous and has to catch it, he could snick the baby.
Right. Well, he can definitely cut the umbilical cord easy. So,
yeah, no problem.
Here, let me get that for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yep.
Just have one come out.
Yep.
I cut
Just the way he said it.
to pieces for you.
Just the way he said it. Who? Apocalypse? The baby. Oh, no.
Oh, no. It's not yours.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, speaking of Wolverine, when he gets launched into the air by the reporter Sentinel.
Yes.
And then as he reaches his peak and starts to fall down, he just sees all the other Sentinels come in. He just
goes full
anybody
Wolverine.
who comes in contact with, he's just, I'm going to cut the shit out of you. Just, that was some of the coolest action. And then it goes right into when she's like, like, what's your reasoning for this? I was like, I've got a reason. I've got 6 of them. And then you hear Nightcrawler go, "You have 9. Yeah. And he's fighting with 3 swords.
Yes.
The tail with a sword.
Some good Nightcrawler action.
Dude, and then back-to-back fighting.
Yeah.
Him not only bamfing in and out, but then bamfing Wolverine in and out to go after the person behind him and in front of him. It just...
Another thing where when I saw him bamf Wolverine, another thing I went, yes! Yeah.
Right.
Whoa, why did it take so long?
Right.
Oh my God. This is day 1 stuff right here.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Including when he bamfed Wolverine and then you see the process. Like all of a sudden you're seeing Wolverine notice that he's being bamfed. And like everything's stretching out and almost like a black hole type of thing. That was cool. That was really cool. I'm glad they did it so briefly and then just went back into action to the point of he didn't have to mention it.
Yep.
It's just a like utter like shock but just keep going because what else are you gonna fucking do?
Yep.
Yeah. No, it was really good. This again, I'm gonna just keep saying it. So impressed by the action, the story, the storyboarding, the plot. I mean, the Bastion was cool. But towards the end of the episodes, I think a lot of the tension was gone, for me at least, when you had the episode of them fighting Magneto. And then once Magneto pulled the adamantium out of Wolverine, oh my God.
Man, that was one of my little last ones.
Right.
Because, bruh, I can say that, well, I'll let you finish your thought, and then we can jump on that one.
Well, I mean, yeah, just after that, when it was getting more into like Bastion, just fighting him. I don't know. I guess I'd have to rewatch the final 2 episodes, but man, it just seemed like that was something you would kind of ended on, like the whole series at that point. Like, just there's your cliffhanger. Just that shot of Wolverine just being held up in the air, and you got the adamantium coming out of him like in liquid form.
Man, being a person who didn't follow X-Men, I do remember the buzz around the people around me when that happened.
In the comics.
Yeah. Something that, from what I have come to understand, at that time was thought maybe like unthinkable, or just something where it's just like, well, just sure, like
cruel as fuck.
Sure, your mans can control metal, but surely he can't. That's a stretch. How would that even? He rip them all apart, and it's just like,
man, they did it.
And, they did it, and made it look like you remember,
right? Yeah,
and well done. Yeah, I'm just like, man, wow. For someone who, again, it wasn't a big deal then. It's a big deal now. Like, oh shit, that what happened?
Right,
it happened. So much so where I was like, ooh, I almost, And they still might do it again, but I almost wish they'd have saved doing it again for a live action. But they still might do it again.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
because, man, that's
going to be a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it's going to be like their Infinity War level, like, in their little run. They're like, everything might go all bad and we might lose movie.
Right. Well, I mean, they hinted at it in the first not first Wolverine, the first X-Men, which is basically a Wolverine movie. When he's just like controlling them and he's like lifting them up in the train car and everything, and
you just see things go far.
Yeah, and you see like him just stretching his fingers out, and then like the blades start to stretch out. Right.
He like moves them towards him or some shit.
Right. Yeah, and he's controlling them and floating. He's floating through the air. And then in the second movie, when Mystique puts all that fucking liquid iron into the security guard,
he can take it out.
Yeah. He's like, too much iron in your blood. He's just like pulling it out of him and everything like that.
Oh, Gandalf.
Yeah. Never trust a woman who's attracted to you. Something like that. Yeah.
Just throwing sassy shade.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. He was great. He was great. The two of them were great. Yeah, they hinted at it. So who knows? I think they'll probably do that for a movie in the next 10 years. Or more.
What did you think about your man's turning into G and being like, come on, Logan, hang in there?
Again, everybody wanted to have sex with everybody in the show. And it just seemed
I understand trying to like, can't you just be Morph and just be like, come on, Wolverine, come on, Logan. You're our guy. We need you.
Yes, but if you have Morph tell Logan I love you, then you're going to have a different.
No, you're
going to have a different set of.
Be Morph and say like, "Hey, buddy, come on, man, you're on the team."
There are
big guy.
There are theories, and people are talking out there that they think that there's a chance that Wolverine and Morph have already hooked up. I don't see that, but. The relationship.
Well, because my brain instantly went to, man, that opens up to a whole nother conversation. Like, did Wolverine know that was Morph? And was it like, oh, hey, I can turn into whoever you want? Oh, I'll just turn to Jean for me. Oh, okay, whatever you want. Or was Morph just walking around as Jean one day, like, hey, big guy, try to get it in. What about Scott? I won't tell if you don't.
Mystique tried fooling Logan in the movie. I will say that Morph was quite comfortable walking into Logan taking a shower, going like, hey, you want me to get to those hard-to-reach places with the 3 claws and everything? And he didn't. He wasn't. He was just like, yeah.
Hey.
Or they weren't, excuse me. So, I don't know.
Whatevs, man.
I don't know.
Whatever, like you said, everybody's just trying to get in with everybody.
It just seemed like everybody wanted to have sex with him. But Beast was
hang out in a mansion with that many good-looking, in-shape people. At some point,
Beast was even
Some
blushing.
might pop off. Who knows?
Beast was even blushing because of the reporter. You know, there's always something somewhere in that show.
Hey, sex still sells.
It sure does. It sure does.
Speaking of sex selling, Gambit dies.
The sex sold the farm.
Nothing sexier than that.
Yeah.
That was that. I did not see that coming. Had he died before NERD, no one ever really dies. But
This is a pretty definitive death.
I don't know. Well, so I didn't understand the end. Super end cutscene, but everybody keeps telling me like, oh.
That's Apocalypse. Okay,
That's
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse, and he's going to call Gambit one of his.
He's going to resurrect Gambit.
Is that
is that
happened?
That
is that
has happened in the comic books.
Because I didn't get it. I was like, oh, he found a card, but he's Apocalypse, so of course he's talking
where
about death,
basically Apocalypse took control of Gambit, made him fight his own friends, the X-Men.
So kind of like how he had his little horseman in his movie. Like where he didn't.
I mean, like in the cartoons, you even see Apocalypse turn Angel into Archangel, becoming
got
his
the metal wings and all that joint, right?
Yeah, becoming one of the four horsemen. So this is going to be Apocalypse's second attempt.
That's right. Because when we were watching it live in the room, I remember going like, "Is he wearing like a Batman exoskeleton suit?" And you and Triggs were both just like, "Nah, he's like an Archangel."
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't remember what that means.
Right. So that means you definitely don't remember the Apocalypse First Class movie.
Apocalypse's movie?
Yeah.
No, I just remember like X-Men First Class, like that kind of joint. Like Apocalypse's movie?
They have one with
Oscar Isaac?
The Oscar Isaac one.
No, I don't remember that one at all.
Because it's really bad. It's a really bad movie.
Well, and it was one of those where
that's the 83 version.
If I've seen it, I don't really remember it. And I remember people going like, you don't need to watch it. It's not really good. It's like, well, I'll watch it. My main interest to watch it now is because it's Oscar Isaacs. And now that I've it's one of those like, well, let me see where this came from. I think that's his first big kind of jump off, right? Or had he done something before?
I think Star Wars.
Had he been Dameron Poe already?
Poe Dameron? Yeah, I think he already was. There was 2015 was episode 7. So
he at least done the
and I think 2017 or 2018
so he at least done one of the films
was X-Men before. At that point.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's the only reason I was interested to go back.
I could be getting years wrong. Excuse me, folks.
I didn't watch this last X-Men. So I fell off with the X-Men movies, to be honest.
The Dark Phoenix one?
Yeah, I didn't watch.
If I said the Apocalypse one was bad, good God, Dark Phoenix is trash. I don't even own it.
Yeah.
I own the Apocalypse one. I got to a point in life where I realized that I don't have to buy a movie just because it's connected to a previous movie. Like I don't have any more with the Transformers. I stopped after 4. I was like, oh God, once again.
After even that third one in the Shire runs like. Ugh.
I didn't even go to the theaters for the fourth one.
Best moment in the third movie to me is when he goes and he picks his broad up from work. It's the first time he sees Patrick Dempsey's character, right?
Oh yeah.
And he pulls up, homie dude got nice job, look nice car, and he goes outside, his door won't close. And he just has this moment where he keeps trying to close the door. And Patrick's walking up to him, he's like, hey, man, so by the way, and he just keeps going. He's like, no, I got it. And he just goes full fucking shot. Everything else about Transformer 3 is kind of forgettable. At least that I remember. Somebody out there might like it. But then I haven't seen a single Mark Wahlberg run. I haven't seen the Bumblebee movie. And I haven't seen the Beast Wars. Like, I stopped after Shia.
I have the Ticket to the Last Night.
That's the joint where at the beginning they're like, in King Arthur's time, there were Transformers.
It got me in there because I was like, Anthony Hopkins is in a fucking Transformers movie? Maybe they've figured out the formula. Oh, dear God. Dear Lord. Because I remember the end and just listening to frickin' Mark Wahlberg. It's like, you gotta get up, Prime. I
believe you have a Transformer.
You can't die, Prime. We need you to come back, Prime. Prime.
Boy. You know what isn't terrible? is X-Men 97.
X-Men 97 is great.
That appearance of the whole little end, where all of a sudden the D&D rules, they tell you don't split the party, but here we are.
They sure did.
Party split.
3000 BC.
The people go and see Apocalypse. Where does everybody else go? I forget. You got your Apocalypse crew, and then some people go elsewheres, right?
You got the Apocalypse crew, and then you have the 3060? 3069 was the year, AD. Mm-hmm. And when they get there, you have Jean and Cyclops seeing a young Nathan.
That's right. I'm trying to think. What was the big? It was a young Nathan. That was the big.
So you got your Age of Apocalypse style future, even though it's really far in the back. Huh? Well, I mean, with that cutscene, present day, and everything like that, when he holds up the Queen of Hearts, it's so much death, and then gives that smile. It's like,
things are about to get
sinister. Maybe there'll be an apocalypse. Join me.
Oh man,
yes.
Speaking of Queen of Hearts, was it the Queen of Hearts where they do that real cold move where Remy and Rogue are talking, and he's like, "Well, let me ask you this," and he takes like the Queen of Hearts and like throws in the fireplace pretty much as she's giving him the like friend zone speech.
Yeah,
that was a cold move. That whole thing was like, what? I was like, what? That was well done.
Yeah,
that whole thing was.
You said it. I've said it. The writing in this. Which, again, while this whole show was being aired, they were looking for a writer for the X-Men movie for Marvel, for the live action. And I'm sitting there going, what do you mean you're looking for a writer? You got your writers. They're right there. And I, as much as some will say, well, it's harder to do live action.
So I was thinking maybe some cats just need that episodic form, that weekly formula, like trying to put all that inside. You got 3 hours to tell this story. Some people just maybe it just doesn't translate. Not saying they can't do it. Right. Just saying maybe that's why they're like, oh, we if that person's obviously that person's been there, and like, so maybe we were saving it for this certain project or this, that, and the third. There has to be a reason why they hadn't reached out to these people that have already written this compelling stuff. So I figure maybe it just doesn't. Maybe them just like, I don't want to write big screen like that, or maybe I don't know. All in all, I think these are my notes for X-Men 97. All I can really say is I think that the hype, like, when people say they watch something in their childhood, right? Or I watched something, 20 something years ago and it was really, really good, and you kind of listen, you're going like, but I bet it doesn't really hold up. For these writers and for this studio to continue where that left off, I would say believe the hype. This is as good as advertised, as your friends told you it was, and maybe even a little better because of the changes they've done. They updated it a little bit. And I was ignorant to how deep the writing was. If these are the same writers, some of the same writers that were giving everybody stories back then, that means that back then you were getting super compelling stories and probably didn't have the vocabulary to understand. And really, it was all just kind of like, but then it was, seed was being planted in your brain of real world things and what to look out for and how to treat people. And I can see why so many people fell in love with these characters, these stories, and this show.
100%.
X-Men 97 gets 2 thumbs up for me. I would say if you're a fan of X-Men, especially if you feel like you've gotten the quote unquote Marvel fatigue, where they've been throwing all this stuff at you and you haven't really dug it, let this be a fun little jump back into the pool for you. Yeah. Like, I would give this one a shot. And if you're just a fan of animation in general, it's not like you're watching some live action stuff. There's not a whole lot of CGI to get wrong. There's not a whole lot of bad acting to really look at and things like that. It's a cartoon, but it's got an adult feel to it. Give it a shot.
It does superhero better than a good chunk of previous superhero movies that have come out over the past 5-10 years. I will say that. The action, the writing and the characters and everything are there. That's apparent. But just some of the shit that you actually saw was mind-blowing to me. That you have this now And maybe it's just because of the previous movies and other things that have come before, when it comes to Marvel's run over the past 10, 15 years, is the stepping stones to get to the point of seeing the shit that we're actually seeing now. And the bar is definitely raised for the next couple of Marvel movies, in my opinion. So yeah, I say 110%, 2 thumbs up, 10 out of 10, 100 non-rotten tomatoes. Yeah, watch it.
Watch it.
Go see it.
And
Wait.
I'm going to go and check out the original.
The series, and then I want to show you that Pride of the X-Men, that 24 minutes. Pride of the X-Men is on YouTube, folks.
Pride of the X-Men.
Because the outfits that they're wearing in that is what they end up changing into at the end. So when you see Cyclops put on that old school outfit, when you see Wolverine put on the brown and yellow, when you see Storm in the black outfit and everything, all the stuff was from the Pride of the X-Men cartoon, which was a cartoon that was made from the RoboCop cartoon series. Mm-hmm. Instead of making 13 episodes, I think they only made 12, or something along those lines. They made one less episode than they were supposed to for the series, and took the budget of that final episode and made an X-Men episode in hopes that it would get it picked up.
Okay.
And eventually it did. But yeah, had they not done that, we probably wouldn't have had the X-Men cartoon.
Speaking of costumes, real quick, we wouldn't be doing our due diligence if we didn't mention the freaking cameos that they throw in there. Not only for all the random people that Morph turns into, but the whole end where we're seeing Peter Parker and Mary Jane out there watching stuff.
You see Spider-Man. You
get to see Black Panther and Doctor Strange, and it's a whole smorgasbord. It's a lot to name. So
right. Well, there was, from what I remember, you have Captain America, Iron Man, you have Morph turning into the Hulk, you have Cloak and Dagger, Daredevil.
Because you were throwing out names, like you and Triggs were throwing out names I didn't even know. Like,
you were seeing people like Omega Red and other villains. You were seeing people from Alpha Flight, which is a Canadian-based team.
Got to see some Black Panther with the cape.
It was actually, they've announced that it was T'Chaka. It wasn't T'Challa.
Well, it's 97, so it would make...
It would make more sense, at that point. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So, I have a list of some of the people that Morph turned into. He turned into Angel, Blob, Magic, Spiral, Jean, Sinister, Colossus, Hulk, Quicksilver, Juggernaut.
Turns into Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic, that's right, when he's trying to hold on to being sucked out. That's right. Man,
just good stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the little... I wouldn't necessarily go like, oh, it's just some fan service. I think it's setting up some stuff. From what I understand, the whole Peter Parker and Mary Jane watching something is supposed to be setting up. I guess they're going to continue his animated.
That's be pretty cool if they actually did more of his animated series that they did with Fox, but also tying them in.
Because I got that other joint with him. They're doing like it's Tom Holland's continuation thing, like he's in Spider-Man thing coming
freshman year,
something like that.
I don't know, but there's a lot of stuff that's being
but I think they were talking about
canceled.
I think they were talking about trying to continue the old Spider-Man animated.
That'd be cool.
Joint.
That would be cool.
I'm hearing that clip that we see of them watching stuff is supposed to begin the jump off for there.
Hey,
that's the little bit that I read about. What does some of the cameos mean? That
would be interesting.
Just some scuttlebutt.
That would be cool.
Don't. We're not breaking any news. Just what I heard.
That would be cool if they did that. I like that Iron Man was the version from the Iron Man cartoon. Little things like that.
Yeah.
Just, remember the 90s?
Yeah, little fan service stuff, little member berries.
Yeah.
A good taste of member berries.
There was a whole lot of member berries in that show.
Did you like this better than What If?
Definitely better than season 2 of What If. Season 2 of What If didn't grab me as much as the first season did.
I agree. I 100% agree.
But because of the fact, like we said, because of the fact that we saw the Watcher in X-Men, I'm hoping that we're going to get some other What If other than just the what if something happened differently in the movies. So, I did enjoy it better than at least season 2. I would have to say that because of the fact that it was something that I grew up with, which is another thing that I forgot to write down, but I wanted to mention, was that just watching this reminded me of getting to Saturday. to be able to see the next cartoon show, to wake up in the morning to make breakfast and or to just rush it in and just turn on the TV to be able to watch it in time.
I think that's a lot of. I think that's part of the nostalgia of it too, right? It's not just watching the show, but it's the whole ritual of getting ready to watch the show.
Because of the fact that they released it one episode, like an episode a week, was again, something that Disney is realizing that probably behooved them to do and continue to do, is because as much as Netflix, you can binge something, it's kind of nice to be able to have that day of the week. I'm sure I've said this before on other episodes. I said it about Mandalorian. It's nice to have that day of the week again, to be able to be excited about the next episode, that thing. And then Saturday morning cartoons was for a kid. Earned it.
Yeah.
You earned it. You got from Monday to Friday, and you get to wake up. You don't have to go to school. You can eat breakfast whenever you want or skip it.
Right. And
you get to watch cartoons until like 10:30, 11 o'clock. This is great. And I don't know. So I guess maybe I'd probably
to watch 2 Saturday mornings, right? Now we're watching stuff. It's every Wednesday. It's like you had to get up, you had to go to work, or you had to do like adulting stuff that day, and then you have to like get home and get in the mindset to sit and watch. Where it's like Friday night, you go to sleep, you wake up Saturday morning like I know what I'm doing.
Yep,
right. Get my cereal bowl. I'm sitting in front of the TV. Leave me alone for about 3 hours. I'll be all right.
I'm almost if we weren't doing this podcast and having to put something out every single month and week and believe me, we're going to be catching up. I would say for certain things that we should save, like, cartoon-wise for Saturday mornings, because, it's nice to be able to just wake up in the morning and, like you said, have a bowl of cereal and just watch some cartoons.
For those that are still lucky enough to do it, because sometimes, man, some people out there, you have to remember, we're lucky.
When you have a Monday through Friday.
We don't have kids, because some people got to wake up Saturday morning. That's kid time,
right?
And we're Saturday morning. Kids gotta do stuff. If not, even hell, we're to the point now. It's like we get up Saturday morning, we gotta pull weeds. We got things to do. Saturday's the only time you get to do stuff. So it's nice.
Take the can down the driveway.
Nice to go and remember a time when it's like Saturday. What are you doing? Nothing. I don't even have bills. I'm about to eat cereal I didn't pay for. Watch cable that I'm not putting on in a room that I'm not paying for. Living my best life.
That's a whole nother type of nostalgia. That's a whole nother type of nostalgia. We're talking cartoons here. You got into heaven. There's no rent. There's no what? I don't have to worry. What worries? Oh man. But if X-Men taught us, there will always be worries, and you have to just push through it and keep going. So,
and like a lot of good stuff too, like a lot of good stuff coming out now, like X-Men 97. It's a good time for stuff like this to come out, because there's just a lot of craziness happening in the world. It's a lot of hate and a lot of evil, a lot of just mistreatment, things happening. It's nice to have. You have your distractions, right? But it's also nice to have your distractions that still teach you something.
Well, yeah.
That still give you that, like, by the way, the world's shit, but you don't have to be part of the problem.
Correct.
You can be part of the solution. You don't have to have superpowers to be part of the solution. Sure, it helps. But
you don't have to be super strong or psychic or have unbreakable bones to not be a dick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Don't be a dick.
Yeah, that's the moral of X-Men. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Get along. So, yeah, I think that was the last of my notes.
I think that was the last of our notes. I think we sopped up this plate of meat and potatoes very nicely.
There's hardly even any scraps left.
Yeah.
So, we could have done a whole buffet and just talked about each and every episode.
But, you know what we can do? We'll save that for when the people can see our faces.
That is true.
When we throw it up, and we can put it up on the we can get a nice little X-Men. People can't see where I'm pointing.
No,
and that's part of the mystery.
We're in the studio right now.
That's part of the mystery, but we can add up a whole X-Men theme on the wall, and then we can do the quick breakdowns, and we can save that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
There are certain things that we have talked about that have just been audio, but when we get the whole display, we're going to circle the block, and you'll get the meaning of that phrase when you see the studio. We're going to circle the block, come back around and touch on some of these things we've talked about again, because we want to have a nice visual experience for y'all, so y'all can see some of our reactions and things like that. So,
And some of the people we're going to talk to.
and some of the people we're going to talk to, because we have a nice little guest list already, whole backlog of guests just waiting for us to get right, and we getting right. So it's going to be a hot summer.
Hopefully they're still waiting.
They're there.
Okay.
They're there. Where are they going to go?
I mean,
They've done every other podcast at this point. What's one more?
Right. Where are they going to go? I mean, I'm sure they've got shit to do, but, there's yeah.
What's one more little let's come do our little lowly podcast. It's fine.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We gonna be all right.
Next order of business, actually, we're going to talk about the fact that we need to catch up. Like, we need to catch up with the fact.
I told you I'm not seeing Hellboy 2.
Hellboy 2.
Or the next Hellboy 4, whatever.
Hellboy 4, yeah.
Yeah, the next Hellboy, whatever.
Yeah. I don't care about that one. I'm not saying we need to catch up with that. What I'm saying is we need to catch up with the fact that we didn't talk about a lot of movies that came out between our last episode and this episode. So I figured that what we're going to be doing is just doing some catch-up episodes that are not like our usual dragged-out 2-hour long episodes that some people say, you need to make those shorter. So what we're going to do is we're going to just do like some, 20-minute episodes of talking about, say, maybe Indiana Jones or The Last Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever else that came out that we didn't talk about. But I think the next episode we're going to be talking about is going to be The Acolyte.
Oh, yes. We're going to talk about The Acolyte. Talking about Star Wars obsession with twins, man.
Yeah.
Because, they have a thing with twins.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all are watching it. It's good.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. It's good.
There's still some episodes left.
There is.
Yeah. But, we're going to talk about that. And we're going to also talk about the brand new cheese ring. That's right. You put your cheese ring above your fries at Chantam's, and you get yourself a nice, goopy, helping thing of garlic cheese fries. Because garlic's in everything, everybody. If you don't have garlic, you don't have Chantam's. Yes, that's right, folks. Chantam's. We'll never forget it, and we won't stop eating it. You shouldn't either. Try it today. Chantam's.
Chantam's is really good.
It is.
I finally had some, but I finally had some again for the longest time a couple months ago.
For the longest time. Whoa. For the longest time.
I had me some Chantam's. It was great. Woo. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Acolyte on the next episode.
Acolyte on the next episode. And yes, we will be doing, like he said, not necessarily little matinee reviews, but like little matinee minutes.
Matinee minutes.
Is what we'll call them.
We tried one. We should do another.
Yeah, we have a couple things we're going to do. And we have a couple movies in the back burner, a couple of video games on the back burner. We have music stuff. We have a lot of stuff to get caught up on. So we're going to be doing some things. We're going to be doing some things. A lot of stuff to talk about. Until then, if you'd like to get caught up to get yourself ready, we are on all the things.
All the things, except for Pandora still.
Still not Pandora.
No.
Yeah, we got it. Right. We have to get to that Andy Dufresne 2 letters a week type of thing. We're going to get on that thing. We're going to hawk tour. Get on that thing.
Hawk tour, man.
Got it. Got one in there. See, we are a little caught up.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yep.
Good thing is we can talk about Hawk tour and not worry about being canceled. It's not super controversial.
Correct.
So we'll be on all the things.
Yeah.
We're on the Apples. We're on the Spotifys. We're on the Buzzsprouts. Anywhere where you can get your podcast. There's a lot of places you can get your podcast now. So we're there.
We're even on Audible.
I'm pretty sure that at this point, if you go on ahead to your Google search bar and you type in the Matinee Review with Justin and Akili, we should be the one main thing that pops up at this point, and you should be able to get at least the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 searches of where we are. So if you don't believe me, go ahead and try it. It's a challenge. It'll be a dare. Try it.
Pause it.
Try it.
See, told you. But yeah. Anyways, if you want to also get in touch with us and give us some ideas or something that you want to hear us talk about,
yes, especially
contact us, email us on thematineereview@gmail.com. Once again, that's thematineereview@gmail.com.
And if you give us something to talk about and we're like, yeah, we should talk about that, we'll make sure to give you a shout out. We'll throw your name out there and we'll say like, hey, blah, 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 blah from wonderful Idaho wants to know, well, blah, 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 blah. So,
yeah. And also, I would love to hear from so-and-so from wonderful old Germany, because I want to thank the following that we are actually gathering in Germany. Who would have known?
we're getting some Augustus Gloop type love out there, man. So,
Yeah, somebody's telling a friend and they're telling a friend and so on and so on. So thank you for telling a friend and them telling their friends. And do me a favor. Let us know what your name is and what you want to hear us talk about. We'd love to hear from you.
You are our official ambassador. So we want to make a trip out there and shake your hand and do an episode out there.
Absolutely.
It'll be dope.
Damn right.
Well,
so thanks for all that.
If that is all, that concludes another wonderful episode of the Matinee Review. I am Akili.
I am Justin.
And we will see y'all on the next one.
Take care, folks.